This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Sunday. Good evening, Warlord. No, Biden has not resigned yet. He would not do that. That would actually be something that would be kind of cool, and of course he wouldn't do that. Just doing something to fuck with the other party, the Democrats don't have that kind of balls. Fuzzy Simba, good evening. Now that is one person who should resign. Apparently you said I'm already bald. You call me bald all the time. So I don't know what you're talking about, Warlord. Sotomayor absolutely should step down and let Biden choose a replacement. But once again, she won't do that because that's the world we live in. They don't do the smart thing politically or advantageous to their cause. So I told you I have too much pussy. The Dems still control the Senate. Oh, but it needs 60 or 2/3 of the Senate, doesn't it? It doesn't just need a simple majority. Clinically, good evening. Okay. Fucking Senate rules. I thought is it in the Constitution that it's 2/3, or is it just the filibuster? Because they could theoretically kill the filibuster like they did for federal judges. Zong, good evening. No, it is the filibuster. They could get rid of it. They did it for federal judges. Just saying. We got a lot of news to cover tonight. Israel. We're done taking the high. There's not going to be a road left to take. Israel doing Israel stuff. A bunch of. Do they call them football hooligans? Is that what they are, Warlord? Educate me. They had football hooligans decide to go over to Amsterdam for a sporty ball game. They chanted about how there's no schools in Gaza. They tore down Palestinian flags. And then they got their asses beat. There was an Iranian plot to assassinate the former president. An intruder was arrested at Mar-a-Lago. A lot going on around Donald Trump and his safety in the wake of his election win. Here's your meme of the day. I hate that I'm doing this. Did she win? Jimmy Carter said from his hospice bed. Motherfuckers now got to stay alive another 4 years. I gotta say, I do believe I found this on a right-wing site. So very few right-wing memes are funny. If this is indeed a right-wing originated meme, fair enough. That's funny. Minty, good evening. You can't lie. I'm sure he has TV. He's being kept alive against his will. I don't know. I think he wants to live another 5 years. So he can try to get somebody else in the presidency. We're going to talk about all that. The transition is set to begin. Republicans on their way to win the House by a very, very slim majority. They actually, I believe, will end up losing seats, but will retain control of the House. Bernie going to tell us what is going on. Fox News mocks some liberals. I think we can enjoy that. The scary shit going on. The right is celebrating with violent memes. Protesters gathering in favor of Trump's deportation movement. Nick Fuentes starts a whole backlash online. I can't find confirmation that he's actually been doxxed, so I'm not going to say that, but there's that idea that he's been doxxed going around out there. We're going to tell you what the 4B movement is that originated in South Korea. Racist text received by black students across the country is kind of a scary thing to have happen. Of course, it's just another day in mass shooting USA as students at Tuskegee University become just another statistic. I now have a right-wing Facebook page, by the way. It's called the Patriot Patrol. If you'll remember back to, a lot of you probably weren't here, the very first April Fools I did on this here stream. I did the Patriot Patrol. I don't think I have a custom name yet. It's still so new. Yeah, I'm glad I got out of school before the school shooting fad took over. The Patriot Patrol is back. I tried to get Warlord to join the Facebook so that he could be a part of the Patriot. I could make him an admin on the Patriot Patrol. Yep, see, that's what we got with Warlord. Is this browser sucking? Is it Facebook? What's going on over here? I don't know. Maybe it's almost time to get to the news, I say. Who gives a shit about my little rinky dink? I don't know. Maybe this browser's not working. Everything else is good. This browser fucked. I'll try a different one. Yeah, fine. Okay, fuck you, Opera browser. I've been looking for more reasons to ditch you.
Killed and wounded in an Israeli strike on a house in northern.
Now, which one do you have a specific one you want on? I got Smokey like right here. He is literally right. His head is in the camera. If you don't know if you've noticed or not. I don't know that he's been feeling okay. Like he's been sneezing a lot. I've had the window open. We're in a different area. I don't know if maybe he got like kitty allergies or something. I believe he's feeling better today. He's been up and moving around and stuff, but he's had like a runny nose. You know, CS? I mean, I think so. I don't tend to think that the DNC screwed Bernie over, but they used the apparatus. The people who were in power wanted Hillary to be, they had control of the party apparatus. They wanted just like a day or two's on. He seems to be getting better. It seems to be just like a thing. I tried to make sure, like, and it could have been like maybe he got some catnip in his nose, because he sticks his whole face in it, and I had given him catnip before the night I noticed it. So I kind of took a damp rag and rubbed around like the edge of his nose and stuff, and tried to make sure he had a clear passage. And I think he's cleared up since then. He's laying on me and purring like a motherfucker right now. You good, buddy? You look like you had it rough or something. But he's been right up there in that fucking window, so I don't know. And the weather has changed. It went from warm to cold really fast. All right, let's find out what that news be doing. Let me hit the content warning for that news be doing. This might be some graphic footage that we're going to see out of Gaza.
Dozens of people were killed and wounded in an Israeli strike on a house in northern Gaza early on Sunday, according to Palestinian medics. It comes as hopes for a ceasefire deal between Hamas and Israel fade further after Qatar said it was stalling its mediation efforts until both sides show they're serious about ending the war. In video obtained by Reuters, a relative of the deceased says the building that was hit in Jabalia was sheltering dozens of his family members. They included children, all displaced by the war. They're simple people trying to make a living, minding their own business, and have no involvement with anyone, the man said. There were no immediate casualty figures given by the enclave's health ministry. The Israeli military said it struck a site in Jabalia in which terrorists were operating, adding that the details were under review. It also said it was looking into the report of a strike in Gaza City that's said to have killed a welfare ministry official along with 7 members of his family, including his wife and children. On Saturday, Qatar's foreign ministry said the country told Israel and Hamas
definitely look like a couple kids
tried to reach a deal, it would stall its mediation efforts if nothing came of those talks. It said, quote, Qatar will resume those efforts with its partners when the parties show their willingness and seriousness to end the brutal war. The latest round of talks in October failed to produce an agreement, with Hamas rejecting a short-term ceasefire proposal. Israel has previously rejected some proposals for longer truces. Disagreements have centered on the long-term future of Hamas and Israel's presence in Gaza. Hamas wants an agreement that ends the war and a prisoner for hostages deal. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the war will only stop once Hamas is
the curse.
Good to see you.
Qatar, along with Egypt and the United States, have been working for months on fruitless talks between the warring sides in Gaza. Any disengagement from that process could further complicate efforts to reach a deal. There was no immediate official response from Hamas or Israel.
This is a tall motherfucker right here, isn't it? I was reading in Haaretz. I almost put it on the list, but I decided not to. Like, they're calling out Netanyahu. They're saying you're seeing the reason why Jewish people aren't safe around the world. It's because Netanyahu wants a forever war. There is no willingness on his part to agree to a ceasefire. Amsterdam police arrest pro-Palestine demonstrators for defying a protest ban. This follows Thursday's attack. The ban was imposed after violence involving Israeli football supporters around the Maccabi Tel Aviv and Ajax game. That sounded like a foreign language to me. Dutch police have arrested more than 100 pro-Palestinian protesters in Amsterdam after they defied a demonstration ban put in place in the wake of clashes between Israeli football fans and people in the city. Early on Sunday, the Amsterdam District Court upheld the decision by the mayor to ban protests in the Dutch capital 3 days after it was rocked by violence between Maccabi Tel Aviv football fans and residents in several areas. But hundreds of demonstrators defied the prohibition to gather in Amsterdam's Dam Square on Sunday, chanting demands for an end to Israel's war on Gaza and slogans such as Free Palestine. Police and riot gears moved in on protesters in the afternoon, shortly after the court upheld the protest ban. Reporting from Amsterdam, Al Jazeera's Step Vassen said that even tourists in Dam Square were shocked by an aggressive police response that included manhandling peaceful protesters. What the fuck? Amsterdam. I saw tourists from India who were wearing the keffiyeh. I always fuck the name of it up. I'm sorry. I don't mean the. Hold on. Let me get the phonetical pronunciation here.
Keffiyeh.
Keffiyeh. Yeah, that was way off. The keffiyeh were also being searched. They looked intimidated by the police and had no idea what was going on. It is unique in Amsterdam to ban protests. This has not happened before, but over the last year, a lot of Palestinian solidarity protests were held in the city. Late on Sunday afternoon, the municipality, together with Amsterdam police and public prosecutor's office, extended the initial 3-day ban on demonstrations until Thursday morning.
I want to take you to a story that's happening live now in Amsterdam. Police have been clashing with protesters in the Dutch capital. Several people have been arrested. Security forces are trying to prevent demonstrations. There's a 3-day ban on protests starting Friday following violence between supporters of Israeli football club Maccabi Tel Aviv and Palestinian Solidarity supporters. We can join Step Vassen, who's with us now from Amsterdam. We've been looking at pictures of the huge police presence that has been there in Dam Square particularly. Tell us about what's been happening, Steph.
Well, in the last few minutes, police is now pushing away protesters, and I'm stepping out of the shot here because you see the police car. You see also this person in a wheelchair who was beaten by police. I just saw it, and they are pushing
beaten by police
into this very famous business shopping street because they are trying to clear this Dam Square of a protest that was banned because the mayor of Amsterdam has banned all protests for the whole weekend after these riots happened on Thursday night between Maccabi hooligans from Tel Aviv and people in Amsterdam. And that had a lead up of a couple of days where also this Maccabi supporters were very vocally and violently present in Amsterdam. There were attacks on houses with Palestinian flags, there were racist songs, genocide glorifying songs. And then there was this attack from people in Amsterdam.
Genocide glorifying songs. That's a phrase I've never heard before.
Palestine solidarity protesters who also clashed with the Maccabi hooligans. There were several injured, and people in Amsterdam, especially from the Jewish community, are very much fearful now. But that is only one side of the story, because the other side of the story of the Maccabi supporters also being very violent in the lead up to this football match, has not been told in the media here in the Netherlands, and also not by the authorities. So nobody has condemned that part of the violence, and that's why these protesters came out here. I can show you the Dam Square is now completely occupied by police. This is one of the main tourist areas in Amsterdam. There was a lot of tourists here as well, and they were very shocked to see what's going on. I saw tourists from India who had a keffiyeh, who had actually been searched and also intimidated by police, had no idea what was going on, so they were very much afraid. And this is also very unique to Amsterdam, that there is a ban on protests, because of course we see in the last year a lot of Palestinian solidarity protests here, but now this is not allowed anymore. So there was a court case.
Feeling deja vu because I read that part in the story.
I haven't heard the outcome yet, but protesters came out anyway to show their outrage about what they say is false framing and calling all the protesters, pro-Palestine protesters, anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
I think here behind you, the sound of the crowd chanting there, there seems to be some sort of confusion about how this all started. Is there an investigation going on?
There is an investigation going on, but the mayor of Amsterdam and the authorities didn't wait for this investigation. They immediately said that the rioters were anti-Semitic. The word pogrom was even used here, a persecution of Jews, which we know, of course, from the Holocaust. There were comparisons made with the Holocaust of what happened here on Thursday night. And what happened was that indeed some Israeli supporters and other people in the city were chased down by angry people here in Amsterdam after they felt they were provoked for days. And that, of course, has caused some fear in the community here. But that's only the story, one side of the story. So the other story the people here want to share is not being told. And they say this whole thing is taken out of context. So what we're hearing here in the media is mostly about how this is an anti-Semitic riot, and that is only the only condemnation that we are hearing. And that's why there's so much frustration on the streets of Amsterdam. People want to vent their anger about what's going on in Gaza, and they feel they are now being silenced.
Step Vassen in Amsterdam. Step, thank you very much indeed.
Damn, what's up with the government of Amsterdam? That's crazy. I don't think we need an investigation to find out how this all started, because I can pretty much show you. It's on video. Israeli football hooligans tear down Palestinian flags in Amsterdam as taxi drivers fight back in night of chaos. Video showed dozens of hooded figures dressed fully in black cheering and chanting "Fuck you, Palestine" and "Ole" as one climbed halfway up the front of a building and removed a flag on the Rockin, a major street. So there you can see a still where they're removing the flag. Here we have the video. So, to be clear as to what is happening here, these are Israelis in Amsterdam, coming into Amsterdam for a sporty ball match, and then trying to run roughshod over the locals, tear down Palestinian flags, and assault people. It's beyond insane. Oh no, somebody got suspended for what they shared out. Bullshit. Here is... Ooh, we got a whole thread of it. That's where you see the flag coming down. These are protests against... I can't tell what it says because it's in what, Dutch? I don't know what's going on because we're in Dutch here. Somebody getting their ass beat.
Broke it. Broke it, broke it. Broke it. Je kankermoed. Hij heeft Bros hem een hele waggie geraakt. Broke it. Broke it, broke it.
This seems to be Israeli vandalism.
Oh, ze zijn palen uit de grond aan het jatten.
Those are Israelis.
Ze hebben palen uit de grond gejat. Ik denk om zichzelf te weren van mensen die ze lastigvallen. Oh, ze doen nu allemaal maskers op.
Maskers op?
Er is geen politie, dus ik weet niet precies. Het is nogal een heel gespannen sfeertje. Oké. Ja, politie. Oké. Ze gaan achter mensen aan. Veel politie. Oké, het loopt helemaal uit de hand. Oh, palen naar de politieauto. Zo. Zo. Ze zijn een beetje uit elkaar. taxichauffeur reed er ook expres doorheen. Ze
So I
hadden
believe it was pro-Palestinian protesters over on the other side.
andere mensen gegooid en op die politiebussen. We zijn weer eens, zoals altijd, de enige media die er is.
This is vandalism.
Nu wordt er met vuurwerk gegooid. De conflicten komen nu.
Zo dan.
Yeah, these are Israelis.
Zo dan. Kom je bijdraaien?
Zo hé. Zo, oké. Ze kwamen terug. Ze zijn zeg maar die twee groepen. Eén groep kwam vanaf daar. Zijn ze met z'n allen daarheen geropen. Met stokken gegooid. Nu wordt er met vuurwerk gegooid. Dat was wel even schrikken. Je merkt wel, ze zijn nog niet klaar. De conflicten komen nu.
I like how she seems somewhat amused by it, just because I guess she's been around like football hooligans before.
Where we've reconstructed how the visit of Maccabi hooligans plunged the city into chaos.
Incidenten in Amsterdam.
Fighting between Israeli football fans and Palestine solidarity demonstrators.
It wasn't safe to wear this little badge last Thursday.
No, it wasn't safe to wear this little badge last Thursday.
Hier waren ze allemaal aan het verzamelen. Hier waren ze aan het schreeuwen. Hier begonnen. Een collega van mij die rijdt hier langs. Die ziet het gebeuren, begint het te filmen. En ze komen direct op hem af. Met sloten, met de riemen.
Yep.
Alles en begonnen keihard.
Come out on his belt, started hitting the car really hard.
Een collega van mij rijdt rechtdoor. Ziet politie staan. De politie zegt we zijn ermee bezig. Ze hebben totaal niets.
Forward, the police say they're working on it.
In de middag. Ze hebben kunnen dansen, schreeuwen. Ze werden niet lastiggevallen. Totdat het blijkt dat ze alle Palestijnse vlaggen eruit aan het trekken waren. Ramen aan het vernielen waren. Taxichauffeurs aan het bedreigen waren. En auto's kapot aan het slaan. Toen pas zijn wij gaan ingrijpen.
If you ask me, you could have seen this coming. Looking at the history of Maccabi Tel Aviv, you know that these supporters, these hooligans, that they are violent Zionists. They attack leftists in Israel. They have attacked a pro-Palestinian person in Greece last March.
We know Maccabi fans. Maccabi fans already have a reputation, even in Israeli standards. We know many of them are soldiers or ex-soldiers in Gaza right now. I also tried to explain this to the police. I said, look, if somebody just came back from Gaza and just came back from killing a lot of people, you don't expect them to behave normally in your city.
Left.
Makes sense.
Where Wednesday night, Maccabi hooligans gathered and tore down a Palestinian flag hanging on this building behind me. This action sparked anger amongst the local population, and cab drivers and others quickly mobilized.
Die collega van ons laten we niet in de steek. Dit is onze stad Amsterdam.
Thur city of Amsterdam, we will not let it be destroyed by IDF supporters. They started smashing windows, every house in the city that hung Palestinian flag had its windows smashed, and all those kinds of things. We did not allow this as a taxi driver. Nobody, this is our city to protect. This has nothing to do with hatred of Jews or anything.
To a remote location in Amsterdam, where we met with the anonymous cab driver that was attacked on Wednesday evening by a Maccabi hooligan. He has declined the opportunity to do a formal interview as he is afraid of Israeli reprisals. He has been receiving numerous death threats over the past few days, and the police has declined him an opportunity to file a formal complaint, even though he immediately contacted them upon his car being damaged.
Tientallen Maccabi-supporters hebben zich op de Dam verzameld in aanloop naar de wedstrijd tegen Ajax vanavond.
So I was here on Thursday.
What did you witness?
Chanting by the Maccabi fans. When I first arrived, I could hear "Fuck Palestine" chanting, all of them, which was very weird to hear. We went to observe right on this spot, hiding our Palestinian symbolics, flags.
You didn't feel safe showing your Palestinian flag?
No, we did not feel safe.
How did the Maccabi hooligans behave towards local Amsterdammers?
Different from moment to moment. Every time someone with a Palestinian a symbol or anything walk by, they get pretty violent, middle fingers, but also like physical violence.
Then I passed the monument and they threw beer at me and they spitted at me in the Damstraat. But it was like a very aggressive tense over here, like, yeah. Yeah.
So Maccabi hooligans threw beer at you and they spit at you?
Yeah.
Remember, the international media is painting this as an attack on
How did
Jews.
that make you feel, though?
Worried. I don't like aggressiveness in my city. Amsterdam has always been a tolerant city towards others, but when a group so aggressively comes in, I don't know, make me not feel at home anymore.
At one moment there was someone who was pulled off the bike and we walked to there to just see what happened, and at that point a glass bottle was thrown at us from the crowd of Maccabi supporters. So no, it didn't really feel safe at all.
Maccabi hooligans threw glass at pro-Palestinian people just cycling by?
Yeah.
And did the police intervene?
No, they told us to step back, go away, or even said, then you shouldn't have stood there.
Your police
Blamed you for being attacked.
didn't protect you
Thursday night,
from the foreigners.
Maccabi hooligans were freely allowed to roam the streets after the match. Highlighted by local journalist Bender, the Maccabi hooligans roamed the streets carrying sticks and stones, ready to fight with the local population. This is the square where Maccabi hooligans were finally surrounded by the police. We can still find the stones that they were carrying. These are the sticks that Maccabi hooligans carried throughout the city, 2 nights in a row.
They came back Thursday night, and also Thursday night at one
This is
point
insane.
they had a really organized group, and there was a signal, and at that point they all came together at the 3 ends of the road to barricade the road with construction work, so they were blocking the police, and then a group of them in black came over the bridge towards the building with a bag filled with rocks ready to throw at the building, but at that point the police came to stop them right on time.
Ja, dat zeg je? Ja, maar ik wil eventjes kijken of het... loopt hij maar door dan?
Ja.
Oké, tot vandaag verder.
תעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל כל העולם ואמרו אמן.
Could you explain why you were afraid that Maccabi hooligans might be coming to this commemoration?
We know Maccabi fans. Maccabi fans already have a reputation, even in Israeli standards. We know many of them are soldiers or ex-soldiers in Gaza right now. I also tried to explain this to the police. I said, look, if somebody just came back from Gaza and just came back from killing a lot of people, you don't expect them to behave normally in your city.
Wednesday, Maccabi
It's so reasonable.
attacked local Amsterdammers. Why did Halsema allow the Maccabi hooligans to roam the streets for a second night?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and that's exactly the question that we're going to ask her. And I would also add another question to that. Why didn't any one of those fans get arrested? Because there's video footage of them not only attacking people from Amsterdam, but even throwing metal pipes at the police. 0 of them got arrested. Explain that to us, please.
Do you think Maccabi fans would be capable of attacking you?
Why not? Why not? I'm originally from Tel Aviv. I know a little bit about the Tel Aviv derby. I know a little bit about what happens in the Israeli league and the way that a lot of them behave against supporters of other teams. Yes, of course there will be, because for them, many of them came here as kind of a demonstration for Israel. Many of them did not actually come for the football. The football was a side thing for them, but many of them came to kind of make pro-Israel or pro-genocide demonstration in Amsterdam for 3-4 days. And so, of course, we would have been a target, yes, for sure.
Where the violence was coming from was from the Maccabi hooligans, and as a reaction to that, people from Amsterdam stood up and they defended their own city. So I don't think that the demonstration ban is in proportion. And tomorrow there is actually going to be a demonstration against the ban on demonstration. And
yeah, this is before the piece we watched earlier, so.
That I will be there.
Zelfs Joe
And he possibly got arrested.
Reageert. Hoe kijk je daarnaar?
Wij zijn blij dat we dit soort media hebben bereikt. Waarom? Wij Nederlanders...
We Dutch do not support the state of Israel and what is going on there now, but the state of the Netherlands stands behind it. The people, not the people. So what do they think? The people also support Israel? Not at all. Dirty, disgusting genocide going on there. So we are happy that the media,
de hele media, de hele wereld...
the same media, the entire world now actually has an image. Okay, Amsterdam, it does not support Israel. The state that supports Israel. We Dutch do not.
Kapitalisten hebben een eigen media.
The woke mind virus, Bagheera.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
How the fuck do you end up getting infected with a mind virus? like fucking, you just repeat the same thing all the other right-wingers of the woke mind virus. Lenny, good evening. Curiouser, good evening. Libertad. Gayest Winston, I don't remember if I gave you a proper good evening. Hazemaker. Princess Kimberly, Nathan. CS, I don't think I gave you a proper good evening. Welcome in, everyone. Monster Balls, welcome in. The DOJ apparently filed charges against a man over an alleged plot to assassinate the former president and president-elect. It's weird to say that now. I don't remember seeing you pop up, Mr. Elwood. Here is your proper good evening. Welcome in, my friend. The U.S. government has brought charges against an Afghan national in connection with an alleged Iranian plot to assassinate Donald Trump before he was elected as the next president. The Department of Justice on Friday unsealed an indictment against Farhid Sakari, 51, alleging that he was tasked with providing a plan to kill Trump. The U.S. I hate saying that on stream. Please, feds. The U.S. Flash, are you here? Make sure they don't come knocking. The U.S. government said Mr. Shakiri has not been arrested and is believed to be in Iran, which described the claims as completely baseless. In a criminal complaint filed in Manhattan court, prosecutors alleged that an official in Iran's Revolutionary Guard directed Mr. Shakiri in September to devise a plan to assassinate the former president. The Justice Department has charged an asset of the Iranian regime who was tasked by the regime to direct a network of criminal associates to further Iran's assassination plots against its targets, including President-elect Donald Trump. This is according to Merrick Garland on Friday. The Justice Department also charged 2 others allegedly recruited to kill an American journalist who was an outspoken critic of Iran. Socialist Aunt, good evening. Josephus, good evening, my friend. That is not the only danger to Donald Trump in the wake of his election, apparently.
National ordered held Friday on trespassing charges after police say he tried to enter President-elect Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in violation of a court order that he stay away after a previous attempt. Zaji Lee, seen right there in that video, 39 years old, being held without bond at the Palm Beach County Jail after being arrested Thursday when he arrived at Mar-a-Lago's entrance gate in an Uber, the latest in a series of contacts that he's had with police and Secret Service agents at
This is a weird stalker.
Since July. Lee, who lives in suburban LA on a student visa, had just been released from a mental hospital where he had been placed in late October after police found him near the estate, and he is now facing 2
Bagheera?
counts of misdemeanor trespassing.
This is a different plot. This dude has been stalking Trump for months now. That's what there was a restraining order against him, and he just showed up at Mar-a-Lago in an Uber. And Bagheera, that's really racist of you just to say a person looks foreign and you think they're illegal.
Lee's arrest comes after a sniper nearly killed Trump at a July rally in Pennsylvania, and an alleged would-be assassin stalked him in September at his Palm Beach County golf course. Friday, the U.S. Justice Department did announce that it had broken up an Iranian plot to murder Trump. We were just talking a little bit more about that. During Trump's term as president, there were numerous illegal incursions at Mar-a-Lago, including 2 by Chinese nationals, but none that were attempts to harm him. According to the town...
Are they priming the pump for this? Some right-wing nut job on behalf of the CIA. You're gonna take him out during his first term so you can install J.D. Vance. I'm really getting conspiratorial now.
Town of Palm Beach police reports Lee first tried to enter Mar-a-Lago in July, telling Secret Service agents that he had information tying China to the Pennsylvania assassination attempt. At that point, he was told to leave and never return. He was arrested the following week after police say he twice tried to enter Mar-a-Lago. He was charged with misdemeanor trespassing and...
Did anyone check out to see if he actually had information on the Chinese government? Come on. Like, did you vet his story first? Maybe the Chinese were involved in the plot with the weirdo would have been school shooter if it hadn't have been a Trump rally kid.
Released on bail, with the judge ordering him to stay away from Mar-a-Lago and also stay away from Trump. Then Lee last week approached a homeowner near Mar-a-Lago who had placed a Trump campaign sign in her yards. This is according to records. He asked the woman if she was a member of Mar-a-Lago and if she would take him inside. Now, she called police, who took him to a mental hospital for observation. He was released from the hospital Thursday, shortly before he returned to Mar-a-Lago. That's according to police.
Because he's not crazy, and he's actually got information from the Chinese government, and nobody has thought to ask him. My God, these people are stupid. The people running this country?
He was arrested again on a misdemeanor trespassing charge. Bail for his previous arrest was revoked. Now, the Palm Beach County Public Defender's Office, which is representing Lee, declined to comment. It does not typically comment on pending cases. That is what the office said. Mar-a-Lago was the scene of at least 5 intrusions during Trump's first term as president, and that includes 2 by Chinese nationals. In August 2020, 3 teens fleeing police while carrying a semi-automatic gun in a backpack jumped a wall at Mar-a-Lago. They were arrested right away, and police said they did not believe the teens knew where they were, and Trump was not at the estate at the time.
They didn't even know.
In 2020, 2 Palm Beach sheriff's deputies opened fire on a Connecticut opera singer who sped through a checkpoint outside Mar-a-Lago while having a mental breakdown. She was not hit and was arrested near that location, later found not guilty by reason of insanity. She had been charged with aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer fleeing arrest.
Well, good on her.
Assisting an officer without violence. So again, this Chinese national ordered held Friday on trespassing charges after police say he tried to enter President-elect Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in violation of a court order that he stay away following those previous attempts.
What a wild story. The transition between administrations begins in earnest this week as Biden will meet with Trump.
Arizona is officially in the win column for President-elect Donald Trump. It was the last state to report the final vote total. The president-elect flipped the swing state back after President Joe Biden won it in 2020. He can now count the state's 11 electoral votes in his victory, bringing his total to 300.
Motherfucker ran the table.
Vice President Kamala Harris's 226 votes. The win in Arizona also completes a GOP sweep of all 7 battleground states.
I just said that.
In Georgia, of course, and here's a live look at the White House, where President-elect Donald Trump will meet with President Biden for an Oval Office meeting next week. The visit is a symbolic step for the transition of power from one president to the next. Aaron Gilchrist has the story.
One not afforded to Biden when he won.
Begins. The White House announcing an Oval Office meeting between President Biden and President-elect Trump.
I'm going to see him on Wednesday.
Biden following through on his promise earlier this week.
On January 20th, we'll have a peaceful transfer of power here in America.
Trump and Biden spoke by phone on Wednesday, the president-elect describing the call to NBC's Kristen Welker as very respectful both ways. The invitation, a return to tradition that Trump bucked, never inviting Biden to the White House.
There's something special about Trump. Like, all the candidates that embrace the Trumpism lose spectacularly. But Trump gets away with it. I don't understand it. It literally is a cult of personality.
After he won the 2020 election. Trump only agreeing to an orderly and peaceful transfer of power back then after a violent mob of his supporters stormed the Capitol on January 6th. In 2016, then President Obama sat with Trump in the Oval Office, extending an olive branch after Hillary Clinton's defeat.
We now are going to want to do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you succeed, then
seeing this exact shot this week with Joe Biden is going to be a wild moment.
Come on, man.
Buddy, the reason you get treated like neo-Nazis is you are neo-Nazis. Stay fucking tuned. Stay fucking tuned.
Then the country succeeds.
That meeting following decades of precedent. Bush to Obama, Clinton to Bush, Bush to Clinton, Reagan to Bush, and Carter to Reagan.
This was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time.
Meanwhile, Trump is working out of his Mar-a-Lago home in Florida, focusing on building his new administration. The president-elect already choosing his campaign manager, Susie Wiles, as his new White House chief of staff, the first woman to ever serve in that role. Trump also favoring cabinet candidates who come from outside Washington and have business experience over members of Congress. That's according to 2 sources familiar with the process.
There's Aaron Gilchrist reporting for us tonight. So here's what's going to happen next.
You know how many right-wingers have told me they voted against the globalists? And I'm like, you voted against the billionaire and the multimillionaire venture capitalists who have investments all over the world, but yet you voted against the globalists. Dumbasses. Absolute dumbasses. I want to show you a little chart, Bagheera. I mean, you ain't going to care. Misinformed views on immigration, crime, and the economy correlated with ballot choice. If you thought that violent crime rates are at or near an all-time high in most American cities, you were likely to vote for Trump. It is false. If you believe that inflation in the U.S. has declined over the last year and is near historic averages, you were likely to vote for Harris, because that's true. You didn't believe that the U.S. stock market is at or near an all-time high, you were likely to vote for Trump. If you didn't believe that over the last few months, unauthorized border crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border are at or near the lowest level in the last few years, you were likely to vote for Trump. I don't know what to do about people that just believe bullshit because they see it in memes, or they see it online, they see it on Twitter, or that Elon Musk shows it to them, or they heard it on Joe Rogan. I don't know what to do about that. Because, like, if you got enough money, you win the information war. And that's what's going on right now. They just flood all the social media. They dominate the algorithms. with misinformation. And Bagheera, man, I can't help it. Like, you believe dumb shit. As I said, Trump is going to take office by February. He's going to be like, crime is at record lows. We're producing more oil than any country ever. The stock market is booming. We made America great again. All things that are true now. What independent people, Bagheera? When you say independent people, you're just talking about people you saw on Twitter. Or that you've seen YouTube or TikToks of. Yes, they're lying to you. We even had this story over the summer that there was this whole caravan of people. They were going to go down. They were going to fight off the migrant invasion. And they got there and they were like, we've been lied to. There's no invasion. Because there's not. Like, you guys will believe anything. You're easy to fear. Yes, YouTubers. Stop getting your information from YouTube. I realize I say that as a YouTuber. This is not trustworthy. The people on YouTube are just trying to make the most money possible. So if you'll watch their bullshit, they will tell you anything you want to hear. Get that through your skull when you're watching this shit. Chainsaw, good evening. Why are you so gullible? Stop being so gullible. Isn't it like $7 a month now, Chainsaw? Republicans are on their way to winning control of the House. They might have already picked another seat. Might have been called while we've been on stream. I'll check that here. It's $8. God damn, Amazon.
Of claiming control of the House of Representatives. Votes are still being counted, but Edison research indicates Republicans have won 213 seats in the 435-member House. Republicans only need 5 more seats to keep control of the House. Many undeclared seats are from swing districts or in the western part of the states, including Arizona, California, and Colorado, just to name a few. Republican senators will decide who will represent them as the party's leader.
I was wrong about there being another call. I'm sorry.
John Cornyn and Rick Scott are all vying for the position.
Hey, I can't blame people. We've got some material conditions going on in this country that are not favorable to working people. And here's the man that needs to tell us about it. His name is Bernie Sanders.
Senator Bernie Sanders issued a scathing statement after the vice president's loss in what he called a disastrous campaign, saying, quote, "It should come as no great surprise that a Democratic Party which has abandoned working class people would find that the working class has abandoned them." And Independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont joins me now. Senator Sanders, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here on this Sunday after Election Day. Let's start right there. Your criticism incredibly direct. You say you think the Democratic Party has, quote, abandoned the working class. How exactly do you think Democrats have abandoned the working class, Senator?
Look, the working people of this country are extremely angry. They have a right to be angry. In the richest country in the history of the world, today, the people on top are doing phenomenally well, while 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And millions of families worry that their kids are actually going to have a lower standard of living than they do. You got the top 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 90%. We're the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all of our people. 25% of our seniors are trying to live on $15,000 a year or less. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth. And the gap between the people on top and everybody else is getting wider and wider. And then, Kristen, on top of all of that, we got a corrupt campaign finance system which allows billionaires to buy elections. So if you're an average worker out there, you're saying, hey, I'm working longer and longer hours, going nowhere in a hurry, worried about my kids, and yet the people on top have never had it so good. Where is the Democratic Party? Are they prepared to stand up to these powerful corporate interests, raise the minimum wage, fight for health care for all people, make sure that all of our kids get the quality education that they need, expand Social Security? Are they prepared to do those things? That's the issue that we have to address.
Well, as you know, your statement was met with some sharp reaction as well. This is what Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi had to say. Take a look. I'll get your reaction on the other side.
Bernie Sanders has not won. Let me, with all due respect, and I have a great deal of respect for him, for what he stands for, but I don't respect him saying that the Democratic Party has abandoned the working class families.
Senator,
says the stock trader.
Nancy Pelosi.
Buddy, you're saying the Democrats have lost touch with reality and you voted for a fucking con man, a supposed billionaire. How does that make any fucking sense? Oh, the Democrats have lost touch with the working class. They're more concerned with the professional managerial class, which they are. But you think the solution to that is to vote in the so-called billionaire that's backed by the fucking billionaires, to give tax cuts to rich people and not do anything about all the problems that we actually have. You're fucking dumb, Bagheera. That's idiotic. I don't understand it.
Well, Nancy's a friend of mine, and we've worked together on many issues. But here is the reality. I have to say to Nancy, in the Senate in the last 2 years, we have not even brought forth legislation to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, despite the fact that some 20 million...
Are you a dumbass, Bagheera? RFK is from one of the richest families in the country. Vance, Harvard educated, venture capitalist. A venture capitalist is the opposite of working class. Bagheera, you're fucking stupid. Please stop being stupid.
And people in this country are working for less than $15 an hour. In America today, we have not brought, in the Senate, we have not brought to the floor the PRO Act to make it easier for workers to join unions. We're not talking about defined benefit pension.
I'm not high enough for this shit. Let Bernie preach it.
Higher with security. We're not talking about lifting the cap on Social Security so that we can extend the solvency of Social Security and raise benefits. Bottom line, if you're an average working person out there, do you really think that the Democratic Party is going to the mats, taking on powerful special interests and fighting for you? I think the overwhelming answer is no, and that is what has got to change.
Senator, let me zoom out and just ask you about these results. You've heard some of the reaction throughout the Democratic Party. How much do you personally blame President Biden for this loss?
President Biden, when he came into office, said that he would be the most progressive president since FDR. And I think on domestic issues, not foreign policy, on domestic issues, he has kept his word, and the agenda that he has pushed through has been an extraordinarily strong one. But that agenda has got to be placed within the overall context of American society today. And that American society today is one in which tens of millions of working families and elderly people are struggling, while the people on top have never had it so good.
But, Senator, should he have gotten out of the race more quickly, as some are arguing?
I'm not going to. I supported him because I think his agenda was a strong agenda, a working class agenda. I'm not going to look backwards. Kamala ran a strong campaign. She did everything that she could. She decisively won the debate. So to me, it's not just about the campaign. It's about what does the Democratic Party stand for? Do ordinary people say, yeah, that is a party that is fighting for my interest and prepared to take on the big money interest who control the economic and political life of the country? That's to me what the issue is.
Yeah, we're talking a lot about the economics. You've talked about how the Democratic Party is out of touch when it comes to economic issues. Some Democrats are saying it's not just economic issues, it's cultural issues as well. Here's what Democratic strategist James Carville had to say. Take a look.
What killed the Democrats and what killed Biden was a sense of disorder. And part of the sense of disorder was the unfortunate events of what I would refer to as the woke era.
Fuck James Carville.
Has the Democratic Party's focus on identity politics gone too far, Senator?
What focus on identity politics?
Let me answer it this way. I think if the Democratic Party must continue to stand up against all forms of bigotry. And Democrats should hold their head high in saying, we led the fight for women's rights and to protect the woman's constitutional right for abortion. We led the fight.
That was a winning issue.
That is something we should be proud of. But it's not
winning issue.
Or, Chris, and this is the problem. You can do both. You could say that I'm for raising the minimum wage to a living wage, guarantee health care for all people, expanding Social Security. And by the way, I also support a woman's right to control her own body, etc. It's not either or. It's going forward in both directions.
You know, I've been speaking to some Democrats who are concerned because now President-elect Trump has beaten 2 women candidates, and their concern is that it will make it more difficult to nominate a woman candidate in the future. Do you share that concern, Senator?
No, I don't. I think it's not a question. Look, I'm not going to deny that there is sexism in this country, that there's racism, there's homophobia. It's there. But on the other hand, I think what the American people want to support, whether it's a woman, a man, a black or a white or Latino, whatever, is they want to support somebody who is standing up, Kristen, and fighting for them. People are in pain. People are hurting. They can't afford to go to a doctor. They can't afford to send their kids to childcare or to college. They're worried about future generations and what kind of standard of living they will have. Here is the bottom line, and it has to be dealt with. You got an economy today doing phenomenally well for the people on top. It is not working for the working class. All right? How do we address those issues? And in the richest country on the history of the world, create an economy that works for all. That is the issue. And by the way, what Trump did in his election is to say, I know that you're hurting. And the reason is they got millions of people coming across the border illegal. They're eating your dogs. They're eating your cats. He gave an explanation. It happened to be a pretty crazy explanation. Yes, we got to strengthen the borders, but that is not going to raise wages for working people or provide health care to all people.
It's going to wreck the economy.
Explanation. And that explanation is corporate greed and the power of the billionaire class. I know that's uncomfortable for people in the Democratic Party, some people, but that is the issue we have to address.
Senator, quickly before I let you go, I do want to ask you about the Supreme Court. Some Democrats behind the scenes quietly talking about the possibility, should Justice Sotomayor step down, to allow President Biden to appoint someone.
Well, we have the problem clinically pointed out earlier.
Is that something that you would support? Do you think she should step down?
No, I don't.
Sacrificial MILF.
Have you heard any talk of this?
A little bit, yes. I don't think it's a sensible approach.
And you don't?
Probably not.
Approach.
Correct.
All right. Senator Bernie Sanders, thank you very much for your time this morning and your perspective. We really appreciate it.
News and top stories on the NBC.
Shut up, Lester.
Or follow.
Dude, we get it. You got a hard on for Tulsi Gabbard. Ooh. Let's let Fox News have their moment, shall we? Let them gloat. Let them get it out of their system. Let's let them mock the crying libs.
Cater to those type of people, they're going to keep losing. I mean, just the reaction shows you these are the same people that want the wokeness, that wanted the border to be open, that wants the trans ideology stuff to be in the classroom with children. You have to reject this side of your party if you want to start winning average day people.
Especially she is an average person. She was a bartender.
Yes.
She should understand working class. They got to ask herself how I lost the working class.
Yes, the bunch of millionaires.
People that actually
in Times Square.
Why are you not responding to them? Why are you keeping Amazon out of Long Island City in New York City? Why are you doing that? So it's not only AOC that is the problem. What about some of these Ivy League schools? They realize there's some.
Why not let the big corporation come in?
Ainsley.
Yeah, the first one. Listen to this. This is
Suck at the tea.
what a professor sent to students at Columbia. I have decided to cancel our class today. I had planned an alternative lecture on modern polling methods and their blind spots. It feels a bit tone deaf to deliver it today. Be good to yourselves and check in on your friends. And apparently some of the Jewish students at Columbia are upset because they said, why didn't you cancel class when we were being yelled at,
100%.
when we were being, scared for our lives? And they're saying you're canceling class because some people feel like that Trump should not be the president. Meanwhile, we couldn't even go on campus, and you didn't cancel class.
Because they're telling you what you want to hear, Bagheera.
For the president,
They're telling you what you've been conditioned to believe, you dumb shit. These people are fucking stupid. These are some of the dumbest people on the planet. Kilmeade is a fucking moron. Fox News is a joke. And you getting information from it is why you are fucking stupid. I'm trying to help you, my friend.
In every borough, especially the Bronx, because they looked at these anti-Semitic, anti-American protests, and they said, really?
You think we're stupid?
I used to vote Democrat. I'm going to flip. I think the president added like 8 points to the New York Jewish vote.
We got to stop paying for these schools. If you're a parent out there, you can't be sending your kids. I understand that they're supposed to be prestigious, but look at...
You're saying truth, Bagheera. Fox News had to pay almost $1 billion because they lie to their audience consistently. Fox News is one of the least truthful outlets. You shouldn't watch any cable news whatsoever. There's a difference between truth and what you believe. That's the disconnect. Didn't I just say you shouldn't watch any cable news whatsoever? It's why everyone's fucking dumb. Jesus, Bagheera.
Look at what they're teaching this kid. This is a Harvard professor as well. As we recover from the eventful election night, this is crazy. Is this a disease or something? And process the implications of Trump's victory. Please know that class will proceed as usual today, except the classroom quizzes will not be for credit. Feel free to take some time off as needed. I mean,
you're pretty.
They are mocking people for having a valid concern about a man who tried to take over the government to keep himself in power. A dude whose former chief of staff has called him a fascist and says he sympathizes with Nazis. A man who has said the craziest goddamn shit in the world, financed by Peter Thiel, who, if you knew anything about, you would not like and would know is the exact opposite. He's one of the richest men in the world. You talk about working class, the campaign was financed by one of the richest men in the world. Fucking tag along Elon Musk also. One of the richest men in the world. But you're talking about working class. Bagheera, your truth isn't sinking into your fucking head.
Getting a bunch of weak people. I mean, this isn't after 9/11.
Smash holiday.
This is after an election which was overwhelming. You can't be like, well, I was a nail biter to the end. Princeton University. Princeton was my hope. This was in the Princetonian. We have been hearing about lots of anxiety from students about the election, and felt like listening circles. Oh my goodness. Listening circles can be a helpful way to allow students to process and get support from one another.
This is a weird group of people, and they call us weird. I mean, I just don't understand.
You fuckers are weird.
A movement, a group of professors, that entire theme of their campaign was democracy, saving democracy. And we had a democratic process What a landslide. I mean, it wasn't even close. We're talking about your blue wall that you guys...
It's like $19 a month for me to add another channel to stream to.
Well, Ari Fleischer, when you interviewed him this morning, he made a good
And I can't stay unbanned on Facebook.
When you look at who voted for Kamala Harris, the numbers are interesting. It's flipped. Wealthy, wealthy, wealthy people, he said.
Over 100,000.
Educated, college educated.
No.
He said people without religion.
People who made over 400,000 to like 1 million voted for Harris. The uber wealthy once again went with the Republicans, as they always do.
Yeah, the support for Latino vote went up.
It was also she won people who made under 40 grand.
For people under 50,000. So that's why when Mayor Pete was on a few days ago and he said the president's going to go in there if Trump wins and give more tax cuts to his billionaire friends, what are you talking about? The people that benefited most was middle class, but every bracket benefited. And if you go to his rallies, there's nobody rich there. These are working class people. So at least...
Yes, Trump voters are idiots, Bagheera. I've explained it.
Of the dumbest people ever. This is what they're saying. But there are people like David Axelrod, I think, that are going to do some legitimate evaluation. David Plouffe, legitimate evaluation. I think that these people are totally detached and are questioning whether they should stay in America.
And they don't know what middle America's like. Yeah. I mean, middle America does...
The millionaires on a couch and Fox News don't know what middle America is like.
It teaches you right from wrong.
You know...
Idiots.
Point about all the talking points that was put out.
Anyone who believes these people are idiots.
Some type of comfort, because I was worried, honestly, in some forms of way. The mainstream media they were so aggressive with the celebrities, and I mean, it seemed like, Ainsley, you would go every day through the lies that were told about the former president, national abortion bans, and I mean, just not Project whatever, 2020-2025, just over and over and over. But the American people, they are smarter. And
the Project 2025 people are celebrating about how they're going to be in the White House.
All the channels, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, all pro-Kamala. All of those channels, they had an opportunity. Those were free advertisements for her. And she still lost.
Yeah.
The American people are smart.
They're smarter.
And they know they're better off under Donald Trump. And they knew putting her back in was not going to change anything. She already had an opportunity.
The funniest thing was watching ABC when Wisconsin and Michigan were going the other way. They kept the guy on the board forever. You go, check Milwaukee again. You know, check Grand Rapids. Wait a second. He's like, yeah, I told you. Give us some hope. Ain't ballot problems. Anybody got a hanging chat that we could just focus on for a second? The poor guy was sweating. He's like, I got nothing. This is the votes. So, which is crazy.
Yeah. I'm still on my joy train. I have joy for the American people. I spent a whole week at the DNC with false
joy
and people talking about that the country is so well and the economy is so well. I'm so glad that we got a reality check right now, some vindication.
And you wonder who's more joyful, Joy Reid or Joy Behar.
You're right.
If we can write us, friends at FoxNews.com.
Sean calls her joyless.
Yeah, I think.
He's talking about the economy and shit, and Kilmeade's like turning things around. By all metrics, the country is doing well. Our GDP growth has been higher than any other country post-pandemic. We've had record low unemployment. It is a booming stock market. All the things that Trump is going to take credit for when he gets into office, and people like Bagheera are going to be like, he made America great again. Here, let me show you a little chart that just flipped me the fuck out. Which shouldn't flip me the fuck out because I knew it. But seeing it in chart form really drove it home. This is the blue line is public opinion from Democrats on the economy. The red line is the public opinion from Republicans on the economy. Notice how at the end of the Obama administration, when the economy was absolutely booming, Republicans are way down, about 20%. And the moment Trump takes office, it shoots up, and almost all of them think the economy has gotten better. The moment Joe Biden takes office, all of a sudden Republicans think the economy is shit. It's wild. You people are fucking stupid. This girl, what's going on? Because Trump fixed it. By what metric? What policy did Trump pass that fixed the economy? I would love to hear, because the only policy he passed was tax cuts. Inflation is not a fantasy. The fantasy here is the fact that you don't realize the entire world experienced inflation and that the U.S. handled it better than most countries. We were kind of in the middle of the pack, but we handled it better than a lot of countries. And I can show you the data, but you don't care. I can show you that GDP growth was higher under Obama. You don't care. I know exactly what you're talking about because I cover politics for a living. He was mocking Trump, that he magically had a wand to fix the boom. But Republicans literally think that. I'm showing you the data right here. What did he fix? You're an idiot if you think he fixed something. What was the policy? What did Trump do? What policy did he pass? It's just your feelings. That's the thing I hate about right-wingers, is you'll be like, facts don't care about your feelings, and everything with you people is just fucking feelings. And that is wild. It is wild that Republicans are acting like they're untouchable when they just won the popular vote for the first time in 20 years. And they were getting destroyed for the last 3 election cycles. I know why they won. Would you like to argue with me? Because you're going to have to get in the phones or the Discord, or otherwise the chat is going to make me move on. I know exactly why they won, because you probably think that crime is at an all-time high instead of being at a historic low. You probably think the stock market hasn't reached multiple record highs. Yes, crime is at a historic... See? I'm not insane. It's the truth. This is the insanity. You people have no idea what you're talking about. It doesn't have the fucking dates and shit on it. That's the chart. That only goes up to 2020. I'd really like it 2024. That's only to 2020. Fucking fuck. Do you even know when crime was at a record high? God, this is all this only goes up to 2018. I fucking have it on my phone. That's the chart, but it doesn't tell the dates. It's not leftist, brother. Like, and I'm going to show you the FBI saying it, and you're going to say the FBI statistics aren't correct, because that's what right-wingers do. Like, why don't you people believe anything? It's insane. And you're telling me I'm insane. And this is why Trump gets elected, because you people live in a fantasy world, because right-wing media has rotted your goddamn brains. FBI latest data shows historic drop in crime. The first 3 months of 2024 saw a continued drop in levels of violent crime and murders across the country, according to data released by the FBI. They called it historic. Reported incidents of violent crime dropped 15% between January and March. Murders dropped more than 26%. The FBI has not released details about the number of incidents for the categories of crime. It will do so when 80% participation levels are met. Well, this is old because they've met that 80% participation levels. Because then right-wingers always say the same thing to me. Well, not all the police departments are reporting. The NYPD doesn't report. But the NYPD says historic drop in crime. Overall crime citywide down for a 9th straight month. 11.8 drop in murder, 9.8 drop in grand larceny, 7.8 decrease in murder or in robberies. And crime was already at a historic low when we were like 2018, 2019, because it's been falling since the 90s. But like, you people don't believe in data. So I don't know what to do about that. I don't know how to win an election when apparently over 50% of the people who vote can't be trusted to verify facts. And you're all fucking mean and hate-filled. We are seeing protesters protesting for mass deportation. This is getting scary.
Headlines this week when she went on a national television show and said mass state police would not be used during a mass deportations during a Trump administration. As you said, Trump supporters did come out here to celebrate that election victory. They also want to celebrate how many number of votes Trump got in a blue state like Massachusetts on Election Day. But supporters here say they are not happy with the governor after they heard her tell a national audience that mass state police would not be part of any mass deportations of illegal immigrants during a Trump
weirdos.
They should all be out of here. Why should we be paying for them? They're putting them up in hotels and everything. What about our veterans?
Wow.
Now, organizers of today's State House rally say Donald Trump made inroads into a traditionally blue state like Massachusetts on Election Day. Coming up at 6, we'll hear from a former law enforcement officer who gives his perspective on what those mass deportations could look like under a Trump administration. We're live on Beacon Hill. I'm Ted Wayman, WCBB.
And then they'll quote the Bible at you, like, there's like 27 passages about how to treat immigrants in your country, right? And they will always weasel their way out of it. You're interpreting it wrong. Far-right Donald Trump supporters celebrate his victory with violent memes and calls for executions. Many, many, many executions are warranted, one Trump supporter wrote on Truth Social. These traitors are a terminal cancer that must be completely eradicated to make America healthy again. Sounds like Nazi talk to me. Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States, and the same far-right extremists condemned by his first administration are celebrating his win with violent memes and threats. Many of the social media posts reviewed by Wired reveled in fantasies of Trump locking up and even executing his political opponents in revenge. Build the Gallows urged to post on Gab, a social media platform that caters to the far right. There has to be as many traitors executed as he has days in office, urged another Gab post. Build the Gallows. Trump ran a campaign that stoked culture war grievances and divisions and was defined by lies, a desire for vengeance, and at times threatening rhetoric. In social media posts, he threatened mass arrests of his political opponents in revenge for stealing the election in 2020. Though evidence conclusively shows the 2020 election was not stolen, lawmakers, election workers, school board members, federal agents, and judges have been repeatedly targeted over the years with violent threats by his supporters who believe they were acting on his behalf. Trump repeatedly promised his supporters he would destroy the deep state, invoking a popular conspiracy theory of a nefarious web of faceless bureaucrats working to destroy the U.S. from within. He cast himself alongside the people who stormed the Capitol on January 6 over the election lies as political prisoners and even hostages. And now that he has won the election, his supporters seem just as thirsty for revenge. A poster on Patriots.win, a pro-Trump forum, shared an AI drawing of Nancy Pelosi with a noose around her neck, about to be hanged. Others shared images of Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who has been villainized by the far right for overseeing the Biden administration's immigration policy, suggesting he too be hanged for high treason. Fact. Many executions are warranted. It sounds like a military court should sentence her to death. Yes. Similar remarks were shared in response to former Trump strategist Steve Bannon's victory remarks, broadcast live from the rooftop of the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C. on election night. You stole the 2020 election, you've mocked and ridiculed and put people in prison and broken people's lives because you said this thing was stolen. Bannon said during his broadcast, the entire phony thing is getting swept out. Biden's getting swept out. Kamala Harris is getting swept out. MSNBC is getting swept out. The Justice Department is getting swept out. The FBI is getting swept out. You people suck. And now you're going to pay the price for trying to destroy the country. Military tribunals await, some people replied on X. I want to see perp walks. Military executions coming right up. New DOJ. These are the same people that said they voted for Trump because of persecution of political enemies, by the way. One viral meme that was shared widely across platforms on Wednesday had the caption, "Release the Project 2025 Handmaid's Tale Rape Squads." Christopher Polis, also known as the Hammer, the leader of neo-Nazi group Blood Tribe, also cheered Trump's victory. Thanks, Trump. Cheaper gas will make it easier to spread white power across the whole country. White nationalist groyper Nicholas Fuentes. I had a whole nother story just in case Wired didn't go into it. Your body, my choice, forever, he wrote on Tuesday night. He followed up on Wednesday. I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank men for saving the country from stupid bitches who wanted to destroy the world to keep abortion. There are rumors that Nicholas has been doxxed. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Lauren Witzke, a far-right activist, shared an image on Telegram of Trump posing with a group of white male college students from Iowa State University. Big shout out to men, especially white men, who turned out in force to put women back in their place. Fuck anyone who thinks like that. Absolutely disgusting. Now, the right has been mocking it, but they were incels anyway. They weren't getting any pussy, so what does it matter? There are a few women on Twitter that have talked about going on a sex strike. What is the 4B feminist movement from South Korea is taking off in the U.S. Feminist movement sweeping South Korea, in which women are saying no to any form of intimate relationships with men, is taking hold in the U.S. following the former President Donald Trump's resounding victory. So what is the 4B movement, and why are American women turning to it now? The 4B movement originally emerged from the fringes of the South Korean feminist movement. It developed in South Korean feminist circles and on social media in the mid to late 2010s during a wave of violence against women in the country, and in protest over other manifestations of sexism and inequality in South Korean society. 4B is shorthand for 4 words that start with bi, which means no. The movement calls for Baihan, which means no heterosexual marriage, by Chuslon, no childbirth, by Yenya, no dating, by Sekesu, no heterosexual sexual relationships. Women are fed up with the scale of male violence in South Korean society. A report published in 2018 showed that in the previous 9 years, at least 824 women in South Korea had been killed, and a further 602 were put at risk of death by violence at the hands of their intimate partners. But there are also economic factors. According to data from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, South Korean men earn 31.2% more on average than women. South Korean society also tends to be fairly conservative when it comes to family. A.O. Wahlberg, a professor in the anthropology department at the University of Copenhagen, told Al Jazeera that the responsibility for the bulk of childcare and household chores, as well as taking care of the elderly, generally falls on the shoulders of women. But with rising inflation, women also have little choice but to work outside of the home, meaning their responsibilities are doubled. This has led to more women foregoing the prospect of having children while also making less money than their male spouses, a situation many say they find disheartening. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? What's up, new name? Meanwhile, the birth rate in South Korea continues to drop rapidly. In recent years, the country has had one of the lowest birth rates in the world. In February this year, Statistics Korea published data showing that the overall birth rate had dropped by 8% in 2023 to 0.72 children per woman in their lifetime, compared with 0.78 in 2022. The low birth rate has been declared a national emergency. Soon after it became apparent that Trump had won the U.S. presidential election this week, young women in the U.S. took to social media platforms such as TikTok and X, encouraging other women to take inspiration from the 4B movement. Oh, I thought we were going to get TikTok. While CNN's exit poll suggested that Trump won 46% of the women's vote and Harris won 54%, it also showed that Harris had won just 43.5% of the male vote, compared with Trump's 56.5%. Young women on social media said they were disappointed that young men had voted for a candidate who they say do not respect their bodily autonomy. To make matters worse, some Trump supporters, such as far-right political activist Nick Fuentes, started posting misogynistic messages such as "Your body, my choice." While the Democratic candidate Kamala Harris was banking on abortion being a big issue, it turned out to be much less of a decisive issue for voters than economic issues such as inflation, unemployment, and the cost of living. All of which Trump is going to make worse. Prices are not going to go down. Anybody that thinks prices are going to go down, or that somehow your wages are going to increase under Trump, you're delusional. You're going to see the continuation of the policies we've seen over the last couple of years. That's the way it works with presidents. Things don't happen immediately. But should Trump come in and wreck the bureaucracy like he plans on, and should Trump come in, and here's the thing that I'm really worried about, is RFK being in charge of the National Institutes of Health, the CDC or something like that, and we have an H1N1 pandemic. We have a confirmed case in a teenager in Canada. That's what worries the shit out of me. But, like, Trump's effects from his first presidency are just being seen now in a lot of ways with the administrative state, and a lot of these court decisions have taken a lot of time to really manifest themselves. You don't see the effects right away. And that's why the right-wingers that somehow think that just as soon as Trump magically gets in office, everything's going to be better, just trip me out. Here it is. Just as soon as he took office in 2016, it shoots up. Republicans think the economy is magically better just as soon as Trump gets into office. But any policy he could have possibly put in place wouldn't have been seen till maybe at the earliest 2019, 2020. And I don't know how to deal with idiots. I mean, clearly I'm not the one that's going to win them over. Science Politically, welcome in. Thank you for being a freaking follower. And this is like, scary shit is going on in this country right now. And, you know, you can't attribute everything to the election of Donald Trump. But, I mean, it really seems like shitheads have been emboldened. Black students across the country in high school are receiving racist texts.
A call today for LA Unified officials to declare a state of emergency. Some students in the district are the latest to receive racist text messages being sent to phones nationwide.
Incredibly frustrating. The FBI already investigating. Eyewitness News reporter Monica DeAnda live at Lamert Park this morning with what is ahead. Monica.
Yeah, Mark, Jasha, a few days ago, we heard that students over in the Rancho Cucamonga area had been targeted, and now we're learning that students within the LAUSD system are also among those that are now receiving these racist
nationwide.
Because of that, this morning, one local leader...
I've seen reports from North Carolina, Ohio. Students all over the country have been receiving these texts.
Taking action, and we'll get to that, but first I want you to take a look. This is what these students have been receiving, and just imagine being a teenager and getting something like this. Okay, it basically says that they have been selected to pick cotton at a plantation, and it also calls them out by name. So very scary for students to get this. Now this morning, the LA Urban Policy Roundtable president will call on LAUSD officials to declare a state of emergency
in Milwaukee
after black students within LA County schools received these racist messages. They want school officials to put school safety officers on high alert to combat any possible incidents of hate violence targeting black students. A local mom of one of these students sharing her frustration with us.
You know, I don't understand why it's so much hate in this world. I don't understand why they don't like us because of our color of our skin. My question that I have is, how do they know my son's name? How is all this information that is being sent out directed to minorities with our specific names? That's very scary.
The FBI is involved
Not
in
that
the
hard.
investigation. A senior law enforcement source telling
You
ABC
give up your data to
not
fucking
determined if the
everybody.
source of the racist text is domestic or foreign, but efforts are underway to determine the origin. In a message to parents yesterday, LAUSD Superintendent Albert Carvalho saying that they are aware of the racist text, unequivocally condemn this hateful and threatening rhetoric, and are investigating now as we come back out here live. You heard the emotion in that mother's voice. Can't even imagine being a parent and getting a racist text like that sent to one of your kids who is just so young. So again, really heartbreaking. LAUSD also saying that if you are a parent of a student who received one of these texts, to reach out to your student. There are resources and support available.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
Hey, Mark Brown. It's really disheartening. We're going to go to the crime section of the show. I don't have a lot of it tonight. We'll see when we wrap up. I do have a car chase. And apparently it's really good. I've got some stupid bullshit at the end of the show. Oh, and the Christmas tree came to New York City. Yeah, stick around. There's only a couple. Even if crime stories aren't your thing, there's only a couple. We'll get through them really fast. But hey, you know, it's just another day. Michael, good evening. Lenny, thank you, but I think the last one we watched was really boring, so hopefully this is like a yellow Mustang, so we should be good.
Alabama, where at least one person is
ironic
and several injured.
Good evening.
Shooting at the university's 100th homecoming. CBS's Jason Allen is there for us tonight with the details. Jason.
Cheating on me with Igloo last night.
Arrested a 25-year-old man who they say had a handgun with a machine gun conversion device. There is obviously a lot of concern among students who are coming back to campus, even as investigators are still collecting evidence.
Get out, get out. Oh my gosh.
Sitting Gal, M-Lord.
Celebration interrupted by panic and gunfire.
We were having fun, and all of a sudden I saw people running towards me before I heard gunshots.
Nursing student Kimora Bean spoke to us today as she came back to the Tuskegee University campus with her mother hours after a bullet hit her in the back, centimeters from her spine.
Oh my God.
Get up and run to my friend's car, and that's when I got shot in my back and ended up getting hit three times, and I was on the ground shot for like 40 minutes until the paramedics came.
Mama.
Bean was one of more than a dozen people caught in the crossfire early Sunday. One of them, 18-year-old Latavion Johnson, was killed.
It was just so.
How was that girl shot 3 times and still like she came back to be interviewed?
Centimeters from her spine.
I tried to get up and run to my friend's car, and that's when I got shot in my back and ended up getting hit three times, and I was on the ground shot for like 40 minutes until the paramedics could even get to me.
Bean was one of more than a dozen people caught in the crossfire early Sunday. One of them, 18-year-old Latavion Johnson, was killed.
It was just so chaotic, people trying to get out, trying to do everything, and it was just crazy.
Johnson was not affiliated with the university, the school confirmed in a statement to CBS News.
It was just really sad that we had to
Girl, you tough.
Especially since it's our homecoming and it was the last day of homecoming.
Because this happened like this morning.
People were injured in all the chaos, but they were not shot. Eureka, the university has canceled all of its classes for tomorrow.
Such scary moments. Jason Allen, thank you.
A Minnesota man kills his wife, his ex-partner, and 2 sons before he killed himself. Police say Anthony Nephew, 46, shot his wife and son and ex-partner and their son dead in Duluth, Minnesota on Thursday. God damn. Duluth police have not determined a motive, but Police Chief Mike Sinoa said at a news conference that the shooter, named as 46-year-old Anthony Nephew, had a pattern of mental health issues. The killings that unfolded on Thursday were consistent with the type of crime that, since the 1980s, has been referred to as a family annihilation. It's sad that we have a word for that or a phrase for that. Family annihilation. Thursday's killings were the 25th mass murder in the U.S. so far this year, according to the nonpartisan Gun Violence Archive, which defines a mass murder as one in which 4 or more victims are killed. Officers were first called to a home just after 2 p.m. on Thursday. Police say they found Aaron Abramson, 47, and Jacob Nephew, 15, dead from apparent gunshot wounds. Abramson and Anthony Nephew were previously involved in a relationship. Later on Thursday, police identified Anthony Nephew as the suspect and surrounded his home when they entered. Officers found the bodies of him, his 45-year-old wife, Catherine, and their 7-year-old son, Oliver. There is no centralized database for this kind of crime that can provide insights into characteristics or prevalence, but the overwhelming majority of such cases involve a male killer armed with a gun who kills himself after murdering multiple close family members. That didn't happen, and I actually watched the court appearance of the dude. Was it in Ohio that shot his 3 kids dead in the field? It wasn't much. It was like a preliminary hearing. There wasn't much to it. I didn't get any juicy details, but my God. The steady reoccurrence of mass murders in the U.S. have prompted many in the country to call for more substantial federal gun control, but Congress has been unable or unwilling to implement such measures. Oh, sorry. Wrong one. That one. You know, Family Annihilation would be a good name for a movie. Think I'm going to write that one. That might be good. That's a topic to be explored. That's a horror movie, too. I like that. I just had a $1 billion idea. What was not a really good idea was apparently the packaging for Mattel's Wicked movie dolls. They apparently mistakenly list a porn site. Something wicked this way comes on the packaging of Mattel's Wicked dolls. There's a website listed on the toy box, but instead of linking to the webpage for the movie adaptation of the Tony-winning musical, Mattel has mistakenly listed the URL to a pornographic website. The film's official website is wickedmovie.com, but the address listed on the plastic packaging for the special edition dolls created in partnership with Universal Pictures is wicked.com.
You live in sexual anarchy?
I'm glad it was Wicked too. Like it's that one's pretty hardcore. Go to Las Vegas where some pranksters are really getting on people's nerves.
Well, it seemed like a funny prank, but one Las Vegas homeowner not laughing after she contacted police. They also said there's nothing funny about it. Sean Dowling explains what this Uber shower prank was all about.
Can I help you? How we doing? Here for the Uber shower?
What's that?
We just blocked up the 15-minute Uber shower.
There's Uber Rideshare and Uber Eats, but Uber Shower, it doesn't exist. And homeowner Debbie Schilder says she wants these shower dudes to clean up their act.
I'm sure it was some kind of prank that's going to end up on the internet someplace.
We checked and couldn't find anything, but something Schilder found right away, the cameraman.
The first thing I noticed was the guy across the street in the black Tesla filming it out the driver's side window.
But the driver and the half-naked shower guys didn't stay long. They made a clean getaway.
You guys know that you harass people, you make people uncomfortable, and it's not funny?
The trio certainly made
kind of funny
and got on Metro's radar after the cops were called, and neighbors posted their photos on the Nextdoor app. Schilder, who's lived here in Vegas since the 60s, says a lot has changed since then, and practical jokes aren't as squeaky clean these days.
When I was growing up and kids might do some stupid pranks, it's kind of different because there's too much crime going on, and so you don't know what their intentions are.
Once again, When she was a kid, crime was much higher. Much, much higher. Much, much, much higher. We live in an age of information where you can watch a show like mine, which highlights all the crime going on in the country for fun. But the statistics tell a different story. A clean getaway. News organizations like to be punny.
It's kind of different because there's too much crime going on, and so you don't know what their intentions are.
Metro officials don't know that either. The men were gone before police arrived. But an officer tells me there could be charges filed against pranksters like this if they don't leave when asked. That officer also says it doesn't rise to the level of indecent exposure. But Schilder pulls back the curtain with this bit of wisdom and worry for any would-be pranksters who go to the wrong house.
And that's the biggest problem, is that they're putting their lives in danger by pulling some stupid prank or something. They walk into the...
Yes, that's the problem, is that people think that crime is at a fever pitch and there's too many goddamn guns in this country. That's the real problem with them going around doing this prank.
House and somebody happens to have a gun.
That was Sean Dowling reporting. Las Vegas police say if anyone comes to your door and you don't want contact with them and you ask them to leave, it's trespassing if they don't take off. Officers add the homeowners did the right thing, calling and reporting it.
Not my monkey, not my research lab. The search remains on for dozens of monkeys that escaped from a research lab in South Carolina. They have captured a few of them as of this morning.
The search is on for dozens of escaped animals in South Carolina. 43 monkeys bred for medical research broke their way out of a compound on Wednesday. I'm sure you've heard about it. Law enforcement and health officials say they don't pose a threat to humans, but people who live nearby are being warned to stay clear of those creatures and call 911 if they see the monkeys. Dave Melkoff has
super cute
how they got out.
Here they are, 43 escaped monkeys just feet away.
Free the monkeys, good.
Alpha Genesis Primate Research Center in Yemassee, South Carolina.
I don't want to see him caught.
CEO Greg Westergaard says a trained employee closed.
CEO of a research company? No, they're doing shitty stuff to those monkeys. Let the monkeys be free. I agree with MILF. It would be different if this was like some sort of, public research at a university. I could be confident that the monkeys are being humanely handled. But not some fucking company in South Carolina. No.
Creatures and call 911 if they see the monkeys. Dave Melkoff.
Well, there's been a lot of valuable research done on monkeys because they're so close to humans.
43 escaped monkeys just.
But this is probably, there's no value to whatever they're doing.
Primate Research Center in Yemassee, South Carolina. CEO Greg Westergaard says a trained employee closed but did not lock a door.
So the monkeys saw an opportunity to dash, and they ran out immediately when she turned her pressure washing machine on, which is what we use to wash the enclosures.
They're smart little fuckers.
Did they know how to open the door?
No, I think they probably just pushed.
And that's all they needed. One cat-sized female got out, and monkey see, monkey do. The rest followed.
You want it?
I met a similar species on assignment in Sri Lanka. They were very friendly with tourists and journalists too. You can see how curious and smart macaques are even in the wild. The monkeys in the South Carolina facility are bred for vaccine testing, everything from COVID to HIV. Alpha Genesis, the CDC, and local law enforcement say the monkeys that escaped pose no risk to human health.
These are young animals that are free of all diseases and also have never been used in testing, so there is no public health danger involved with these monkeys.
They have not gone far. Dr. Westergaard tells us if you stand at this fence and look up into these trees, you can not only see them, but you can also hear them. They are looking at us as much as we are looking for them. You can actually see them back there.
Yeah, those are actually long-tailed monkeys that are in those enclosures right there. Yep.
The escaped ones are rhesus macaques. Westergaard has been tempting them back inside with a trail of fruit leading to traps. They go inside and a door gently closes behind them. Until they come back, police are asking neighbors not to go into the woods and to lock their doors.
Monkey might eat your face.
One question remains this morning, and it's about that employee who let them out in the first place. Did this person get in trouble?
Yes, they're on disciplinary action at this moment, yes.
For CBS Saturday Morning,
no.
Steve Malkoff in Yemassee, South Carolina.
Mistakes are easy to make. Everybody makes mistakes. There's no reason to punish the worker just because the little mischievous monkeys got out. That's wrong. Don't take it out on the workers. Perhaps the worker was overworked and you shouldn't have been working them like that. I'm not into this bullshit, but I know some of you are, so it has arrived. Well, this is Rockefeller Center. Monkeys gonna be monkeys. This is the Christmas tree. Well, I mean, like, they light it after Thanksgiving, so they probably need to do it because it's fucking huge. It might take until Thanksgiving to decorate it. So, I mean, fair enough. This is probably about the right time for him to put it up there. They light it on the Friday after Thanksgiving, don't they? Or is it Saturday? Love a good Panic at the Disco joke. Instead, it was Panic at the South Carolina Research Lab. Kind of boring, I'm sorry. Even at 2 times speed. Sit that fucker down, goddammit. See, look how long it's taken him to even get this thing up there. Looks like they kind of bent the top of it. What's going on with it? It's a little limp. How are they going to hit us with a limp dick tree? It drew a crowd. It drew a crowd for this bullshit. It's gonna look pretty once they get it all set up. And of course we'll do the lighting. Oh, I fucking love Flight of the Conchords. It went over my head or something, Byronic. Fucking we've had this like I did the whole New Zealand thing to you the other night. You know the Lord of the Rings was filmed in New Zealand. It's business. Let's take it to, I'm sorry, I said a Mustang. It's not a Mustang. It's a Charger.
To see in the vehicle with their infrared technology, they're able to call out the
a Charger or a Challenger or whatever the Dodge thing is.
Becomes a concern, and the marine layer becomes an obstacle. Things
I think no, that's a Chevy, isn't it? Fuck, I don't even know. I'm gonna quit trying.
A little bit sooner, but there's still marine layer issues, across West LA right now, from Inglewood all the way north into Santa Monica. The entire
is it a Mustang?
Rapidly,
I got it right the first time.
See him using that right shoulder, slowing down a little bit at least, just trying.
All right,
to
this one's already great.
Rush hour traffic. It's been a while since we've seen a really serious pursuit through very heavy traffic like this, and it's a really nerve-wracking situation for everybody involved. And in this situation, it's actually the last thing law enforcement wants to see without knowing.
The last chase we watched with the Mustang was not high speed.
To even more aggressive.
It was one of the slowest chases we've ever watched, and it was excruciatingly long.
You're talking about rush hour on a Friday afternoon in the middle of a very congested 405 freeway. You just don't know what the person behind that wheel is capable of. So right now we're just crossing our fingers, hoping.
I think this happened earlier today.
Maybe his adrenaline
possibly yesterday.
Down a little bit, and he can think twice about continuing this dangerous adventure down the 405 freeway with all of the eyes on him. But
we're on the 405.
We already know that he's wanted for shoplifting and assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. So
yay!
At this rate, you have to assume the worst.
Hey, this chase has got everything. I'm into it.
Well, they are trying to catch up. Everybody's trying to catch up.
This is our dude, Chris Christie.
Venice Boulevard, and we'll see if he actually decides to take this exit. If I was him, I would take that exit. This guy, a little more unpredictable and not thinking very clearly. In fact, he's going right.
See, I love it. Chris Christie will always tell the perp what he should do.
Venice Boulevard.
He'll give him the best route.
Looks like he's bypassing all of those. The next freeway is going to be the 90 freeway. And
so if any of you are ever on a police chase in L.A.,
the 90 freeway is always.
You tune in to ABC 7.
Never really gets.
Chris Christie will tell you how to get out of it. Listen to Chris Christie.
Never gets that crowded. So he will have an entire freeway to play with if he decides to get off there. But not for long. Yeah. And you don't want to be stuck on Lincoln traffic on a Friday afternoon. So
it's Friday.
That is a great point. And yeah, unfortunately, though, if he does take it west, he will lose all the helicopters, because I'm looking at the right side here, and it is a solid bank of clouds as far as all the way out to the beach. So, I mean, if he does take the 90 freeway, unfortunately, he may very well get away. Still, even at this juncture, you're not seeing anybody behind him. You know they are trying. They are making every attempt to get units in position here, but right now, the call to hold off CHP earlier in this pursuit may prove to be a mistake. At one point, CHP was ready to take this over, and Ventura County basically declined the help. They basically said, listen, we've got this. We've got units behind them. We have the helicopter up. We're good. And then they lost them. And that's when the helicopter basically took over, and now there are no units behind him, especially with all the traffic here. So there might be some Monday morning quarterbacking here. In any event, everybody is working cooperatively to try.
I love it. I love it. We got a great setup.
You can see him now hugging that right shoulder.
We're in for a wild ride.
The path of least resistance to the 90 freeway if he chooses to take it.
Take the 90. Oh, he's not going to do it.
Staying on the 405. Yep. Well, it will. In fact, the clouds thin out a little bit. So we're gonna make every attempt to get over this cloud bank here, and we may lose visual for a short time, but hopefully not for long. The marine layer is still holding over the Playa Vista area and hasn't really crossed over the 405 just yet. So LAX is socked in. Playa Vista is pretty much socked in, but he's taking this 405 southbound straight past the airport. He's going to go through Inglewood if he continues down the 405 freeway, which he does seem to be showing every intention of staying on the freeway. Now he's getting over to the shoulder, off the freeway, now onto the curb there. It looks like he is choosing to get off at Howard Hughes, or
nope, I think he's coming back.
Now he's just riding that gore point. He's going to have to make a decision here in about 100 feet. Now there is a cloud right there. We're going to try and keep up here and see if he gets off at Howard Hughes or stays on the freeway. He might have just been using that gore point to squeeze through those cars. Once again, getting back on the shoulder. he stays on the shoulder, he'll get off the freeway. Or he could swerve to the left like he did a moment ago
Swerve to the left.
into the 405. Again, a lot of decisions
Swerve to the right.
questionable decisions, to say the least. But let's be honest.
Let me see you clap your hands.
So we'll see. Yeah, staying on the 405.
Cha-cha, y'all. Sorry, I DJ'd a lot of weddings in my earlier years. I hate the chicken. Old people like the chicken dance. What was up with that? DJ Dub, you in here?
Exactly.
You know my pain. Wait, have we seen DJ Dub?
Finally getting off.
We've seen DJ Dub since the election, right?
La Tejera Boulevard.
Surely he didn't take it hard.
Bad news for us because we are trying to get permission to climb over LAX here. Air traffic control keeping us.
He might have took it hard just because he ended up voting for
as
her.
long as we can, but now that he's getting onto surface streets here, he's going to be taking the westbound side of La Tejera Boulevard, where we are going to have the challenge of those buildings that are going to block our view here. But he is now going westbound on La Tejera, heading towards the airport. Yep, heading towards the airport. We're going to try
to get a plane
as best we can, but right now it is only helicopters overhead. There are no units behind the suspect.
Hey, Smokey woke up to watch this.
Fortunately, not a whole lot of traffic here, but the problem is once you're on surface streets, the risk level intensifies. So even if there were units, they'd be extra careful now because now he's off the freeway and they have all of that surface street traffic.
But you guys didn't even know Socks was sitting back there.
This time of the day that they would have to
he blends in.
contend with. And see, here he is at a red light here. We'll see if he shows. I mean, right now he doesn't have a whole lot of pressure on him, if you will. He doesn't feel that pressure most likely. So he may continue on as if he thinks he's gotten away. It looks like he just made a southbound turn there onto Airport Boulevard, heading towards Century now as he makes his way through the Westchester Avenue. A little bit more residential as he continues down this section of Airport Boulevard, coming up on 83rd Street in Manchester, right off the nose there, and he will have more options ahead of him. Right now you can see, thankfully, LAX has allowed that LAPD helicopter to enter the airspace there and keep close eyes on the suspect. So LAPD, at the very least, has a clear view of the suspect. And thankfully, the Marine layer is holding. It's holding steady. So if he continues southbound, and we're going to continue with him here, it looks like we've gotten clearance to creep up here on LAX. It looks like he's going to continue southbound down Airport Boulevard, and that'll eventually take him towards the airport. We'll have to make a decision, either go left or right north of the airport.
Fox and I were cuddling this morning. It was so nice. Then Maynard came over and startled
Does sound
him.
like LAPD is trying to get in position right through a red light there, right through cross traffic, and a near miss right there as he sped through that intersection. Now coming up on Century Boulevard, a left turn, going eastbound on Century Boulevard, driving much more aggressively as he feels some pressure. Apparently that LAPD ship is right overhead, and he is well aware of that helicopter. I got to tell you, he has dramatically increased his speed here just in the last few seconds, speeding through that intersection, now making that wild left turn, and once again, we're seeing him do much higher speeds. I got to remind everybody here, when we first picked up this pursuit, he was really booking it down the 101 freeway and showing real intention of, just speeding away from law enforcement, which is exactly what he was able to do. He was really able to speed into rush hour traffic, evade those ground units, but now he is stuck in rush hour traffic on surface streets here in Westchester without anybody behind him. But again, he's at least got that helicopter right overhead. That's it. That's it. Yeah, there's nobody down there. LAPD, I venture, they are broadcasting it right now, so the units on the ground are well aware of this pursuit.
Stuck.
Inglewood PD is likely aware of
He ain't
this
going
pursuit
nowhere for a while.
But we don't have their frequency.
Was it a stoplight?
It's a safe bet as they continue down south. Look at that. There's a motor unit. Is that a motorcycle officer? It's a motorcycle officer. Somebody has caught up with him. A motor unit, possibly a chippy, is right. Two CHP units. CHP has now re-engaged this pursuit, and now we know why he is speeding away there. So he is now continuing down Century Boulevard here. He's continuing eastbound away from LA.
Said he got up to 100, but I don't think you could really tell.
We're going to do our best to get back over it here, but right now we are communicating with LAX to try and get a better position here as he comes under the 405 freeway, continuing on Century Boulevard. But now, for the first time in quite a while, he now has those lights and sirens blaring behind him, going around traffic briefly in the oncoming lanes, through another red light. Again,
wow.
Cross traffic nearly missed.
He's lucky
as he failed to yield for that turn, that person who was trying to turn there. Now he's continuing on Century, so he is really driving much faster than we've seen at any point in the last half hour.
Yeah, it's getting good now.
This is getting more dangerous by the second.
Yeah, more dangerous. I said that. It's getting good. Don't make me regret saying that. I don't want to see this motherfucker die in some horrific crash. I can believe 70.
Yeah, the one good thing here is that it's a motor unit who has caught up with him. Again, that motor unit has a
weave in and out of traffic and shit.
Your average patrol unit, right? So he is going to be able to keep up with him and squeeze through some of that traffic if he does encounter heavy traffic once again in situations where, again, a regular patrol unit might not be able to keep up at a safe distance. So right now, he's continuing through a residential neighborhood here, speeding up to Mansell Avenue, coming up on 104th in Inglewood. CHP right behind him as they safely make the turn with him. Again, that primary unit is a motor unit, followed by a CHP Interceptor, that SUV, making the turn with him here as they continue with 2 units in his pursuit. Inglewood PD monitoring the pursuit as they are in the city of Inglewood now on 104th Street.
Got that front bra on it. I hate car bras. Oh, that car really got in his way. Where's he turning into? A pawn shop.
Yeah, now this is hard stopping here. Going through this parking lot here with units in tow here as he does a circle around the shopping plaza. Now coming back on Lenox Boulevard to answer your question. That was a close call right there. Really close call. Inches away.
Great driving
with that car. That motor unit again keeping up with him as he continues up Hawthorne Boulevard. To answer your question really quick, I could tell you that we don't know whether he has randomly ended up in this neighborhood, but law enforcement does know. I understand that they do have an accurate plate and registration for this vehicle. They believe they know where this suspect resides. At least that's the information that
doesn't mean that's where he's going.
They do have the luxury of knowing where the suspect lives. We will see how that affects their decision making here. Look at him pulling into that turn lane, and those CHP units now back about 100.
There's a real piece of junk truck in front of him.
100 feet
kind of blocking his way
as they try and I guess calculate.
Hey, he's got all kinds of tools up in that helicopter. Look at him. It's about 500 feet.
But they are going to bring this to a stop at some point if they see a safe opportunity. But they are certainly acting very tactically here as they pause, waiting for the light to turn and figure out what their next move is going to be. Look at this officer getting out of the vehicle.
Is he going to get a shotgun or something?
This is interesting. Haven't seen this. Not clear what he knows that we don't know. But
doesn't look like they have their lights on.
Out of his vehicle, and I don't know if something is wrong with the patrol car or what's going on here. Somebody somebody. Okay.
We got women.
So somebody, yeah, these are people walking
washing
through traffic,
windshields.
washing windows. This guy is stuck at the intersection of Hawthorne Boulevard and 111th Street at a red light with heavy traffic. CHP a few hundred feet back here, basically holding their position, waiting
we
for
got
the
a green
light
light
to
on
turn.
the turn
light is
lane.
turned. People are turning. Let's see if they turn with him here or what the next move is going to be. Look at him continuing through the red
I didn't
light,
figure
going
he's going to turn.
through cross traffic, continuing north or southbound on Hawthorne Boulevard. We'll keep the camera on the car, but we do want to find out here in a minute or so, whether that
He's making a turn.
unit
Turn
has
off somewhere.
continued or whether they've called. Okay, so
we got the
continuing.
motorcycle unit behind him.
Explorer. So there you go. CHP now taking this onto the freeway as he gets onto the freeway. This is going to be the left rear. I'm sorry, left rear. I don't know what that means, but okay. So he's on the 105 freeway. Something going on with the left rear tire, possibly.
He popped his left rear.
As he makes his way onto the freeway. And you can see California Highway Patrol trying to keep up with him as he really
kind of seems like he's not able to control it as well.
Is moderate to heavy, so he's going to be hitting the brakes here in a little bit, but he does have a little bit of room to play with, at least for a half mile or so as he gets onto the freeway here. If he stays on the freeway, he could very easily get right back off. There are plenty of exits here on the 105 freeway. So California Highway Patrol now with their
on the 105 now.
Right behind him, and now LA County Sheriff's helicopter, the third helicopter that we've seen pursue this suspect down the 105 freeway now. Heading east on the 105, yes. Eastbound 105 freeway. Yeah, and despite all those eastbound exits, he has now managed to weave all the way across to the carpool lane where he's going to be fairly committed. Fortunately, that HOV lane is wide open for him, but he's going to stick with the 105 freeway here as he continues through Hawthorne. But so are those CHP units. There's really nothing stopping them from keeping up with him at this point.
Fantastic. I got Maynard.
Yeah, clear skies as he makes his way further east. All of the clouds are pretty much behind us, so as we continue east, it will become much less of a factor, at least for now. So good news on that front.
Oh, I tried to get him and he got away.
Disposal of law enforcement. Think about it. We have seen a Ventura County Black Hawk helicopter over this pursuit, an LAPD helicopter, and now a LA County Sheriff's helicopter over this high-speed pursuit. Dangerous shoplifters on the run from Camarillo, where there was a shoplifting event at a Target. Organized crime detectives on the case.
It was a shoplifting event?
Ramming into law enforcement on the way out of that Target.
Is that kind of like a flash mob?
All resources at the disposal of law enforcement are being used to follow this pursuit to see it to its bitter end. But right now,
it's bitter end.
Showing no signs of giving up this chase. Yep.
Yep.
I'm not.
And assault of a police officer.
I mean, yeah, I don't see it. I'm not sure if it was maybe the time.
With a deadly weapon.
Maybe he came in contact with the vehicle. I'm not sure what that was about. Anyways, he is continuing, approaching Vermont Avenue here on the Century Freeway. So again, he's weaving across all lanes. I'm looking for any signs of getting over to the right. If he starts thinking about an exit ramp,
Fragwitz,
we'll see that
move in
pretty shortly, especially as he makes his way into the South LA area here. Lots of opportunities, and again, depending on where he lives, it could lead us right back home. Look at him getting.
You know, a Fragwitz sounds like it could be a tasty sandwich.
Taking the 110 freeway. That's going to be the 110 transition. Does he go north or does he go south?
Oh, that's true. It could have been like just bumping into a cop, and they'll charge it as assault.
Onto the southbound side of the Harbor Freeway now, making his way down the 110 freeway, using the shoulder on the elevated ramp there to get around that traffic. He is now trying to put a little bit of distance successfully between him and that CHP officer. We'll get a better idea. I'm trying to look out the window to see how far back that California Highway Patrol unit is. But right now, he has put a little bit of distance between them. There he is. Yep, there's the SUV. SUV was able to manage that traffic on the transition.
Wow, I'm amazed they were able to keep up with him like that.
There he is. No more than a few hundred feet behind him. Again, high-speed pursuit now down the 110 freeway where traffic is relatively light. In fact, light traffic all the way down to San Pedro.
Talking at 91, 90, 87?
90 miles per hour. We know that Ford Mustang is capable of speeds much higher than that.
120, 130.
Exactly, I mean, he's doing above freeway speeds, but, we'll see what happens here.
He can get faster.
Hugging that right lane again. He's definitely putting a little bit more distance there, but right now they're having no problem keeping up with him. They're now pushing about 100 miles per hour, so he is starting to apply a little more gas there as they get close behind him, and that may play into their decision-making in terms of how much room they give him to play with versus, how much pressure they take off of him with the hopes of maybe taming the driving and taming the speeds a little bit. They're not going to.
He's going to say taming the shrew.
But as long as they can keep an eye on him and they have the tools at their disposal above him.
A full tank in a Mustang driving at those speeds probably doesn't last all that long either.
The watch commander or the supervisor makes the decision to lay off a little bit and give him an opportunity to slow down. Now he's getting off the freeway here. He's
trying to
the 105
thread the needle. Oh my God!
110 freeway. Excuse me. Getting off the 110 freeway. Heavy traffic at this red light here. Look at that cruiser. Look at that cruiser keeping up with him, going right through traffic, splitting lanes with him as he comes up on Redondo Beach Boulevard.
Negative 7 miles to the gallon. Seriously.
Right back on the freeway, just using that exit ramp to get off. Looks like that left rear tire is.
Oh, it is.
Trouble.
It's coming completely apart.
At some point. Somebody either made contact with that tire. I certainly have not.
Oh, it's going to take the fender apart.
Strips. I didn't see any chance of that. So at some point, he did collide with something that is now eating up that rubber, and now that left rear tire is on borrowed time. That may be.
He went off-road several times. It's hard telling when he could have popped it.
Southbound on the 110 freeway with a very unstable left rear wheel.
Yeah, this one probably doesn't last very much longer. Mainly because I know how long it lasts. I knew the run time on it.
He's dragging something. Look, I'm sorry, David and Giovanna, that side skirt's coming off the vehicle. That side skirt is now dragging on the pavement there. That may be what even punctured the tire. He must have collided with something that has done some pretty serious damage to the vehicle here. He's now getting off at the 91 freeway. Getting off at the 91 freeway, they were just prepared to shut down the 110 freeway behind him, CHP, getting a traffic break in place, but now he's getting off
shut down the 110 on a Friday night.
Onto, I think, the 91 transition here. That's right. Yeah, unfortunately, he just took the westbound 91 freeway. I say that because that's where eventually, as we continue west, that marine layer is going to come into play once again.
Oh, no, we don't lose him. So, we need a conclusion.
This chase has had all the elements. Okay, so he's got, right, suspect out of the vehicle. Driver's side door open. Driver's side door open. Suspect out of the vehicle. We're going to come around this tree.
Oh, he just gave up.
Stepping away from the vehicle, now coming around the back of the vehicle. Behind the Mustang, CHP in position to take that.
Boo.
He will quickly be placed into handcuffs, and it looks like they're rushing to either rushing to clear the remainder of the vehicle, or unless somebody else went running. We're going to come around this tree here to see if we can see what's going on here. But right now, they are in the process of clearing that vehicle.
Well, unless we're going to lose him because of the cloud cover, at least we got a.
It looks like that.
At least we got a conclusion.
Shut. So I believe. Just judging from what we've been able to witness here, it's just the driver that is involved. He is being taken into custody.
And Chris Christie was
code 4.
A little exacerbated, wasn't he?
What a sudden end to this. Oh, no, somebody else is in custody. Somebody else. A passenger is out of the vehicle and in handcuffs. CHP placing 2 people.
Think of the viewers.
Out of that yellow Ford Mustang.
Cop seems to be just talking to him like he's an old pal or something. Well, it was a very eventful chase, not very eventful ending. At least nobody died, I guess. I mean, it was the best outcome for the suspect. Probably just pull over and give yourself up. It's not the best outcome for my content. Got something special for you. Get startled by the snowfall. He's so cute. What a gorgeous little area that is. Yeah, there's something falling in the distance. Scared the shit out of it. Sure it wasn't a moose? Are you up in Canada, eh? You saw a moose, eh? What's that all about? Acorn falling in the police car. See, that's what the right-wingers don't understand. That was just the police getting back at the squirrel that threw the acorn at them. If you are watching on the Twitch, it's time for the Plex. We're going to be back tomorrow night. I don't even know what I'm doing for Live Music Monday. We'll find out. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I am JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol. Live.